All right, so it's 5:30. Thank you for participating in the webinar, Erin. For those of you who cannot make it, this will be recorded and sent out to you. This is an ELA specific webinar on how to use Storyboard That in the classroom for your ELA classroom. Just a little introduction about myself. My name is Dan Rasile, and I taught ELA down in Texas for 4 years down at SAISD. I used Storyboard That in my classroom last year, my 6th grade ELA classroom, and my students really enjoyed, using the product. It was a game changer in my class. You know, as a young teacher, new teacher, I was looking for ways to, reach every student population: the ELL students, the GT students, um, ESL, general ed. This program really hits home for everything. It's very diverse, and students really get to use their inner creativity as well as really channel their collaboration skills. It's just overall, it was a great success. We also, you can do the written component as well. I'm excited to show you guys, what we can do here. So, Annie will be available for chat. If you have any questions, feel free to just type into the chat section and ask away. All right. So what you're seeing here is the dashboard. This is the teacher's interface with the teacher/admin will see when they log into their account. We have your view storyboards, manage students, your settings, help, or if you need additional help, you can contact us. So if you click on my storyboards, you'll be able to see all the storyboards that were saved. You could check by assignment, by class, by user, or if they don't save to a particular assignment, it'll go straight into the missing assignments bin. So here's what I'm going to show you first, the manage students. Here's how to add students. If you guys are a Google School, that's great. You can Google roster using Google single sign-on. Your students, you can import your roster, a click of a button. But there's also other options to add students. If you're not a Google affiliated school, you can add a user manually. So I would just click on this box, username, webinar 1, display name, webinar 1. All right. And it got added right up there. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. All right. Can manage a class. I'm going to create a class right now, just real quick, and I'm going to get into the ELA stuff. Class name ELA period 1. And I'm going to add the class right there. You see it right here. I have ELA period 1. Go back to my dashboard. I'm going to add an assignment. I'm going to add holes, vocabulary. All right, so when you add an assignment, you can custom make it. You can decide to edit the description yourself. You can decide which classes to put that assignment in. So I'm going to put it into our class we just created. You can add a quick rubric, which is a easy rubric that you can attach right to your storyboard. And away we go. So now if you scroll down to the bottom, it says view lesson plans and activities. Here you can switch. We have our middle school ELA section, high school ELA section, as well as elementary school. So I'm going to click on middle school ELA. And these are the different lesson plans that we have affiliated with some of the short stories, novels, novellas, epic poems, speeches, letters that we already have pre-made, created, already ready to go. We also have graphic organizers associated with ELA. For example, plot development, the heroic journey, different types of inner conflict, etc. You can find these all right here. So the way I used Storyboard That in my class, my ELA class, is I would, after reading, a chapter or the entire novel, I would do a simple BME summarization, which I can show you right now. So for example, this is the creator. I go into the storyboard layout. You can choose the different layout that you want to use it as. So for example, ELA, you could do, you know, your BME summarization with the 3-cell. And students would have that written component that they'd have to add the description in. I just want to go over the Storyboard Creator just real quick. So certain scenes are considered smart scenes. They have different features to them. So for example, I go home outdoor. We have home indoor, town, athletics. So if I click on town or home indoor, I just click drag and drop. I can edit the scene here. For example, update scene. I can choose the color configuration associated with the room. If I go to now the town, I drag and drop, and that'll now show, crop it in the back. Also with this scene outside, I can also change the weather for example, and that scene that I cropped is still right behind it. We have our characters, so they're completely customizable as well. You can change all the colors configured with the hair, the skin, the eyes, the shirt. You can also edit the pose with the pre-made expressions. Update the pose. All right. Now our textables. So this is where the in-text dialogue can happen amongst characters. You can adjust the size, for example. All right. We also have our shapes, web and technology. You can upload your own images with the upload button, or we're associated with Photos for Class, which is a student-safe search engine that copyrights images that were taken from the internet. So for example, if I want to add this candle here, it'll automatically, oh, not that one. Might be down right now, it's okay. We'll keep going. So you can also add more cells, as ambitious as you're feeling, or this specific to the assignment. So now when I click save, the student, you see that assignment that we created before, Holes vocabulary, you can add a description, save storyboard. All right, so once you save the storyboard, we have options to print. You can choose make a worksheet out of it. You also could download it as a PDF, image resolution pack, or a PowerPoint. You could also do an in-browser slideshow. You know, students can absolutely present. Now I'm going to go back into the lesson plans to kind of show you a little bit more that we can do in ELA. So for example, in high school ELA, the department, I can't find what I'm looking for, so I'm going to do a search. It says looking for engaging lesson plans and activities. I'm going to search in holes. All right. And if we have the lesson, it'll show up right here. So when you click on an already pre-made lesson, it has our student activities associated with the lesson right at the top. So for examples, we have a summary characters, theme motifs, character maps, cause and effect, vocab. If you scroll down, it says our student standards, our Common Core Line standards about this activity. It tells you a little bit about the activity. I click on template in class instructions. Here I can create a template and copy it right to my right to my dashboard, which is great. But say I want to use an existing one, like this plot development of holes. You can really cater and edit it to based on your students, where your students are in the curriculum. So I clicked on create a copy. So now say I want to edit this out. I want students to kind of fill in the gaps here, fill in the spaces. So they have to write their own written component. You know, students would have to fill in the conflict, this particular scene. And you can keep going depending on where you guys are at. I click on save. And so ideally you'd want to create an assignment before you create a copy of an existing lesson. So for example, it's really easy to navigate, teach whole summary, whole vocabulary. You can add a title. And a description that you want to include for your class. So I'm going to click on Save Storyboard. All right. So now here's our template. Now I'm going to go back to my dashboard and view storyboards by assignment. Click on View. Here's the template that we created that students will be able to see. And students will be able to log on, click on Edit, and they can just start working right from there. All right. Awesome. Okay, I can show you some graphic organizers now, some ELA graphic organizers. Awesome. All right, so we have chapter summary activity. These are all already come with, you know, the subscriptions. You want to do an illusion activity, literary elements. It gives you the overview right here. All right, so here's your, you know, example that students could use. You can kind of look at and see, you know, what an illusion is, for example. And then right beside that is the template that they could use so they could create their own. Like I said, you can create a copy, save it right to your dashboard, so when your students log on, they'll be able to automatically see it. All right. All right, so here's a rubric already created. Like I was saying, quick rubrics, we're affiliated with quick rubrics. I really wish I knew about this when I was teaching. So I could have, you know, it would have been really easy. Okay. It's a really easy way for students, you know, to kind of, you know, follow example guidelines, what they're supposed to be doing. All right. Next, I can show you a character map. Perfect. So here's an example of Romeo and Juliet character map. We've got several existing character maps and a lot of different lessons that we have for ELA. So for example, you know, these are already created, so they just have to fill in the traits, for example. You can print this out as well, and you can make it into a worksheet. All right. You know, you guys can come around and check it out as well. We have our setting maps, character maps, foil characters. We've got so much on here that you could use in your class. We have KWL, parts of the story, furry models. This was really great for my class because, you know, you had students saying, "Sir, I can't draw," so everyone can absolutely participate in these activities. So for example, I can show you another one, just a really open-ended way you could use Storyboard That without using our templates. So for example, I'm going to do plot development. I'm going to go to storyboard layout, title, cell, and description. I'm going to add a couple more cells. We're going to do plot development. So here we have our exposition, and students would have to really write in that written component. Not only would they create, you know, how they depict the exposition is they'd also have to incorporate that writing piece into it. you know, you have your rising action. You know, your climax. And this is just one way you could really open-endedly do it. Another way that I use this in my class is, you know, just a simple, you know, chronological order, sequence of events, you know, vocabulary. So for example, you know, plot development is a sequence of events, chronological order, what happens first basically to last, to your exposition, to your resolution. So for example, you could also use it. I was going over biographies, autobiographies. I had students create their own autobiographies on their life. So for example, you know, they would go to home outdoor and they would have to write about, you know, age 1, I was born here. They would have to write the written component, but then they could create their own character associated with them that they thought was, you know, fitting for them. Great. So I'm going to go back to Storyboard That. And I'm going to go to back to lesson plans. So our elementary school, middle school, and high school ELA, they're all differentiated in that sense that, you know, high school ELA, you know, is going to be more literary text driven. Middle school is a little bit, you know, more visual. It's more written component, but elementary school, I'll give you an example. But Not Buddy is one of my favorites. So for example, here's our lessons, our character maps for this. But do you see how the curriculum is appropriate for the grade level? You know, difficulty level 3. Cause and effect, just very simple. You see the written component is not as extensive. So say I want to copy this. This is our blank template. If you just click on copy assignment, all right, and here's our cause and effect. I can edit the description, completely cater to what our students are currently doing, which is great. Okay. Perfect. I'm going to show you some vocabulary. You can really use this template for any vocab, you know, any grade level ELA. ELA is a very vocab heavy subject. So, you know, you could have your, for example, I'm going to click on create a copy. And for example, you can edit this in here. You can choose your vocabulary word. You know, for example, I can do, you know, simile, and students would have to come up with 3 examples, you know, or you could do it, you know, what an example, non-example, in one that I created. So you can really cater the vocab. That's another way you could use it. So once again, all these lesson plans that you're looking for are right on your dashboard. You can scroll all the way down, your elementary, middle, and ELA, and your high school ELA. So all the lesson plans that we also have a content team here at Storyboard. So we're consistently adding to the plethora of literature and lessons that we already have. So we're always open to suggestions, and we're consistently adding as well. So we have our lessons, we have our graphic organizers, literary analysis, some life skills. It's really really great tool. So I'm gonna see if there's any questions in the chat. We have about 10 minutes. Doesn't look like there's too many questions in the chat, but so if you guys have any specific questions regarding curriculum mapping for ELA, just please reach out to support@storyboardthat.com, or you can email me directly at dan@storyboardthat.com. Also, you can feel free to give me a call at 617-539-2359 as well if you have any questions at all about curriculum mapping, ways to use ELA in your class, etc. So I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank you all for participating, and for those of you who have not or could not make it today, this is recorded, so I'll send out an email with the recording of what you could do. Also, if you want to schedule a personal demo with me, I'd love to help you guys out as well, so we can really cater to your classroom and your students' needs. So thank you guys all for coming, and I hope you have a great night. Thanks.